my name is Ligia. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. It is greatly appreciated. In order to ease the viewing experience, I will now share my screen while I talk. Awesome. Here we go. So again, my name is Ligia. You're more welcome to call me LV. If it's a bit of a mouthful, that's totally fine. A little bit about me. I grew up in a bilingual household, so I'm able to speak both English and Spanish fluently. Así que si gusta mi servicio en español, con gusto se le puedo proveer. No se preocupe. I am also multi-ethnic. I can relate to many different students because I have a wide variety of nations in my blood. I can trace my ancestry down to Europe, to the Occidental region, to Central America, and I was born in the US, which is a melting pot of cultures. So please rest assured that I will use this to my advantage. I will use this to build common ground with students, to then build trust, to then build an amazing learning experience. Awesome. A little bit about my education now. All throughout my life, I assisted to charter college-focused public schools. I like to think that any student that gets to work with me or that I have the honor to work with has a little glimpse of what it's like to be educated at the college level. So parents, please rest assured your students are in good hands. Speaking of college, I went to CSUN for 4 years and I got my bachelor's in arts in English with an emphasis on creative writing and a minor in visual arts. I graduated with honors and with a summa cum laude GPA, so if you have any questions regarding organization, productivity, and study skills, I am very happy to help with that as well. Regarding my formal work experience, during my last 2 years at CSUN, I worked at the Learning Resource Center as a peer writing specialist. That's a very fancy phrase for writing tutor. I helped students, both undergrad and graduates, edit, develop, and refine their English, literature, research, and writing assignments. If you think that list is long, you haven't seen the profile list, so please check it out. That way you can probably find what you're looking for within that list, and it's also constantly growing. During those 2 years, I also worked with students that were dyslexic, visually impaired, and hard of hearing. So please know that I will do everything in my power to help students with special needs to the best of my ability. Some of my accomplishments are as follows. I think I may have mentioned that I loved art ever since I was a child. One example of such was that when I was in elementary school, a teacher looked at my paper craft and said, you know what, that should be in the USC Pacific Asian Museum exhibition. And that happened. Later on in high school, I took APCDR as an independent study course and I passed the test with a score of a 3, so I'm very proud of that still. And even later on, during the pandemic itself, I made a charcoal still life during my freshman year at CSUN, and it was later on included in the annual student art exhibition of that year. So if you have any questions about drawing and painting, I'm more than happy to address them. Cool. Now regarding my pride and joy English and writing, I won 3 scholarships in 1 year in my last year at CSUN, and I have them to show for you today. One of them it was for an essay that I wrote on Langston Hughes and Elaine Locke. So if you have any questions regarding American literature, I'd be happy to help with that. Of course, my specialty is creative writing with fiction. And to show that, I won in that same semester another scholarship for a short story in the genres of young adult, magic, realism, and sci-fi. Excuse me, I am very excited, so I tend to use my words when I'm in that attitude. But yes, I do know a thing or two about experimenting with writing and fiction. And last but not least, my most recent scholarship was for a novel draft, a manuscript, if you will, that was a work in progress that was in the genre of sci-fi and young adult. So please know that I am quite familiar writing with short forms genres, if you will, and longer forms. So developments and ideas and organization and everything writing related, I'm happy to help with that. Cool. You may have noticed that up to this point, I have discussed my formal accomplishments and work experience, but I also do have a lot of informal work experience. All throughout grade school and all throughout my life, essentially, I have more than a decade of informal tutoring experience within a wide variety of subjects. I specialize in English and humanities, as I may have already mentioned, but I also can tutor basic arithmetic, algebra, science, chemistry, biology, a little bit of every subject in essence. So if your student has a wide variety of needs with those particular subjects, I will do my best to refresh my memory before the session. I also take a lot of pride and joy in my volunteer work. I have tutored students through my volunteer work from a wide variety of ages, from elementary, children from 5 to 6, 7 years old, to high school, and of course, college and adult level as well. And of course, thanks to that, I'm able to work with students that have mild autism and dyslexia. That way, every student can benefit from my services. If you are a parent that has a student that is not in the age ranges I have mentioned, please do not fret. I'm happy to work with any student that has a positive growth attitude and a desire to learn. That is what I'm looking for in students. Cool. In case it hasn't already been clear, I have a very interesting personality to say the least. My motto is that learning should be enjoyable, so I am often engaging and fun in my teaching style. I'm told that I have a lot of enthusiasm and energy. That is probably right. Another thing that I also love to learn in my teaching style are questions. From the very get go, even before we meet, I may ask a lot of questions about the assignment or the student's goals. Throughout the session, I will ask clarification and follow up questions just to make sure that student and I are on the same page. And of course, I encourage the questions that students may have. I do not take it personal when students interrupt me or cut me off when I'm speaking. After all, the session is for them, and I would love to address their questions to the best of my ability. Speaking of which, I am also I like to consider myself honest and sincere. One example of that is my love and love-hate relationship with technology. I unfortunately have my ups and downs. I have my days, and my computer also has its days. So please rest assured that if I'm ever rude, it is never towards students. I absolutely love my students. I just don't always love my computer. So you know, okay. And also, I want to let you know that I love learning from students as well. I understand students come in to learn from me, but honestly, I welcome students that work with different fields, that have different areas of expertise, because then that gives me an opportunity to learn from them. So that mutual learning experience is honestly something that I absolutely love too. Now, for another very important part, the cancellation, no-show, and rate change policies. I will do my best to make these as crystal clear as possible. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to message me in Wyzant's messages. Cool. So starting off with my cancellation, no-show policies. I understand life happens, so I do not charge a cancellation fee. Yay! But in case you do need to cancel, please do that at least 2 hours before our scheduled session. That way, another student can take that time lapse and use it for their benefit too. Regarding no-shows, I've been told that I'm patient. However, because life has us constantly busy, I will wait 10 to 15 minutes after the scheduled session time. If the student does not show up within that time frame, I will, no worries, cancel the lesson and propose that we reschedule for another time. Life happens. I will be flexible to the best of my ability. Also, my rate change policies are as follows. I do not like to increase my rates, but sometimes, especially when it comes during midterms and finals weeks, I will have to increase my rate, and again, they are subject to increasing. But of course, for my long-term students, I will do my best to let them know ahead of time out of consideration. Cool. And another thing, a special note for parents as well. I understand that students can be frustrated and overwhelmed, and sometimes they let out their frustration on tutors. Because of that, I reserve the right to increase my rate if the student is condescending or rude. Please treat others the way you'd like to be treated. I like to be nice. I like students I like when students are nice. So please be nice. Awesome. And another thing that I'd also like to share with you is the fact that I also offer asynchronous tutoring. How that works in essence is as follows. I will adhere to the agreed rate with the student as much as possible, of course, before we start off with our particular arrangements, if you will. However, if you'd like me to edit or proofread your work on your behalf, please note that I have to respect copyright and plagiarism rules. There are big legal consequences if these things are not respected. So in order for that to be respected on my behalf, I've reserved the right to charge at least $5 more because, in essence, I'm selling you my work. That way you can put your name on it, and that way you don't have to put my name next to yours when you turn in, say, your assignment. And again, full disclosure, I will provide regular feedback still throughout these means, and please still do consider it. After all, I am a tutor and I want to help you learn and I want to help you grow. So please do still consider my feedback. Cool. And with that in mind, I will also have another asynchronous tutoring video, so please do check it out. And in case you think that you and I are a good match, or that you and I and your student will be a good match, please do message me. Here is my website, yzent.com/tutor/Ligia Escritura. Escritura is writing in Spanish. And again, I greatly appreciate the time that you took to watch this video, and I hope that you have an absolutely amazing day. Thank you so much, and I look forward to work with you. Bye bye.